this is a beautiful free-range duck. It's a country duck, not quite as slick looking as a city duck, but this has been reared by a local farmer who's been supplying us with free-range ducks ever since Ballymaloe started in the early 1960s, and of course we use them here at the Ballymaloe Cookery School as well. Now, a beautiful duck like this that has been slowly and lovingly reared needs to be at least 22 euros for the real price. So you really need to be able to get your full value from the duck. So you could just roast the duck if you wanted to. And if you are going to roast it, one of the first things to do is to loosen the wishbone, which is down, of course, at the neck end. I've loosened it a little bit there earlier to make it easier to get out. And then you just catch it and hook it out like that, and then throw that into the stock pot, because that's one of the things I'm going to make with all the scraps from the duck. So now I'm going to start off by taking off the legs. You can pinch it there with your finger with loose skin, and then just cut through like that, keeping your knife as close to the bone as you possibly can. Now when it comes down here, just push down with your thumb and up with your finger like that, and then you break the ball and socket joint. And then always when you're jointing something, always put your finger right in front of the tip of the blade, because then you can feel where to cut. So right into the little oyster piece like that there, and then just wiggle the knife around and try to leave as little of the precious meat on the duck carcass as possible. So that's one duck leg. I'll put that there. I've taken the wishbone out, so now there's nothing going to be in the way when I'm cutting here. So just feel the breastbone, and then with your knife just cut again, always your thumb in front of the blade. So just feel where you're going to cut, look, and just slide. Ducks and geese have quite a flat rib cage like this, so just slide off the breast off it there, or in French they call this a magret de canard. So just slide that off, and that's the wing. So you can just cut, loosen the wing, and just make sure not to cut through bone, but just to cut between where the joint is there. So now I have both the wing and the duck breast together. So just if you want to, you can just send the wing up like that and cut off the wing. Now the wing you can do lots of things with. You could just cook these slowly with lots of lovely vegetables and pulses and things, little chili, lots of herbs, and make a gorgeous big stew. Or you could just slow roast them and they'd be delicious, like chicken wings as well. Or you could just put them into the stock and they would add extra flavour to the stock, and then you could pick off all the little bits of meat off it when the stock was cooked, and then you could make a delicious little kind of terrine with that. I want to trim it off because you see there's lots of extra fat there, and inside here there's the little inside fillet bit. Now you could leave that on with the duck breast if you wanted to, or you could save those separately and just fry them off very quickly in the pan and put them on top of a little warm salad or something. So I'm going to trim off all the extra fat here from the duck breast. Just trim that as well. All these little bits that you trim off, make sure to put them into the stock pot. Trim off the extra fat there, this extra fat, because the duck fat is so precious and so full of flavour. So trim that, look around the other side, and there's a lovely duck breast or magret de canard. Now you could leave the little inside fillet bit in it as well if you wanted to. So next now, just do the other side. But you can imagine if you leave the duck in the same position, it's going to be awkward cutting off the breast because you're kind of working underneath your arm. So if you feel awkward, then you're in the wrong position. So just turn the duck around so that it's easier to do it. It's the same if you're jointing a chicken. And then again, just feel the loose skin there, just cut through like that, around, follow the line like that, and then again pushing down with your thumb, up with your fingers to break the ball and socket joint. Turn it on its side then, and then feeling where to cut all the time. There's a little kind of what they call oyster piece there, which is quite small in a duck. And now just keep the knife as close to the bone as possible, cut between the joint there, and then cut off the rest. So again, you can trim off the excess duck fat here. This is so valuable. We just keep every single little scrap of that. And now with the duck legs then, you can of course slow roast them, and they're absolutely delicious slow roasted, or you could casserole roast them with lots of onions and thyme leaves in a casserole. Do that in the oven and oh my goodness, it's like a feast. Or you could of course make confit. So they're the 2 duck legs, and back to the second duck breast here. Now again, just keeping close to the breastbone. Then with your thumb, so you can feel where to cut, just slide the knife down along the rib cage, keeping as close as possible to the rib cage. Try to leave as little meat on the carcass as possible, but this comes in practice. And if you do leave a bit more on than you think, I'm going to put this carcass into the stock pot, and then later I'll take every last little bit of meat off it and we'll make a little potted duck. So here we are. This time, instead of taking off the wing with the breast, I've left it on separately and then just cut down like that. So there is the wing, and again you can put it into the stock pot, or we put it over here. And all of these can be frozen for another time. There's the second little inner fillet, then like this. Now the duck breasts of course can be pan grilled, served in little very thin slices, or they can actually be roasted either. And they don't look very big, but usually I think 2 duck breasts are plenty for 3 people. If you're pan grilling them, you can slice them thinly and serve them with lovely crusty potatoes cooked in the duck fat or something as well. Go back over the carcass and take every last little bit of fat off it. Look, every bit of fat, because we're going to render this down. And look, inside the cavity as well, there's usually little soft bits of fat there near the vent end, so they also are beautiful fat. So then turn it around, look, all these little bits meticulously, take them off underneath. Take all of this, all of those little bits, and the back here. There we are, more hurry, less speed. I got most of it there. Now, so with the duck fat, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to literally cut this into lots of little bits and little tiny squares like this, and then I'll cook this very slowly in the oven for at about 80, I suppose, centigrade, and we'll just very slowly, so that the fat will crisp up and the liquid duck fat will render out of the